everybody. It's
Yep.
Marilyn Bradford, joined with Pam Houghteling for another edition of the Irreverent Therapists. And this week's show is on the wonders of judgment. Judgment, my daily elixir. Have you ever had that exhilarating feeling of self-righteousness when you can judge someone as being very, very wrong? What about when the tables are turned and you are aware of someone judging you? Oh, how could they judge me? I'm so perfect. Do you shrink away and make yourself wrong? Or do you immediately justify your position?
Oh, I justify it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Let me explain why I'm right and you're wrong. Can you see that either way, judgment is controlling you? Wow. Why do we give it so much power? Why do we give it so much power?
Well, and I would think that sentence about can you see either way judgment is controlling you?
Yes.
My guess is most people haven't looked at it that way. Like,
absolutely.
My judgments are who I am. It's
Yes,
what defines me. And I know we're friends because we share the same judgments. You align and agree with my point of view about the world. And so we have a lot in common.
Yeah, we're both right, obviously.
I mean, they're wrong.
And they're wrong. It's also, I think, this people love being right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be right unless you're using judgment.
Yeah.
You can be aware, oh, this person does such and such, or this person has said this or whatever. But you can't be right without judgment. And the other thing that people don't ever seem to get is that all judgment is completely arbitrary. I really learned this. I was a psychotherapist for about 37 years. And I would be stunned whether it was a family or a group of individuals, how they were judging politics, judging their spouses, and it was all different. It's just a point of view. And I think almost nobody in the world gets that.
Yeah. Well, so I feel like already in our first 2 minutes, you've said so many, like we could spend hours on this. So where do we start with unpacking judgment, which really is something more than you can do on a radio show in half an hour. We'll start out by saying that, but we can touch on some things that gives everybody something to look at.
Yeah, I think it's important. One way to start for each of us is to pick a topic. Any topic will do. Politics is a big one in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump was just indicted on 34 counts of whatever.
Well, he was found guilty.
Oh, found guilty, that's right, of a felony, not indicted. There's going to be a lot of judgment around that.
Yes.
So start looking at what your judgments are. And what are your judgments about? I realized I was making a list of things that if I ever got a partner again, I would like. One is I judge that poor hygiene is a game changer, red flag. I can't deal with that.
Well, is that a judgment or a preference?
I think that's a preference, and it could actually be an awareness. But I notice it's so easy to judge bodies. And it's one thing, like I could say, well, that person has poor hygiene. They don't shower enough of this. That could be an awareness. But ew, God, I can't believe you don't do that. That's a judgment.
That's a judgment.
I just... I have a rent house, and the guy who'd been there for 10 years abandoned it in the middle of the night. And he left this huge mess. And I wrote to because these are in another state, I wrote to my estate, my manager. It's like, how do people live like that? Because it wasn't trashed in the sense of garbage everywhere, but it was ugh. Yeah. And that's total. If you're going, that's a judgment, unless there's really a bad smell in the kitchen. But I think one of the things that I want to say with all of that is judgment and awareness can seem to be the same thing. Almost. They're very close. Like with food. Now, I'm a food snob, although I will eat I'm not a food snob in the sense that it has to be a high-end restaurant, but because there's some wonderful hole in the wall kind of places, family owned, run, but
it has to be good.
It has to be good. It has to be high quality. And I notice that there are times when I'm going, this is not up to par, and times when I'm going, what is wrong with that cook? They need to.
That would be the judgment part.
That would be the judgment part. They need to kick her out of the kitchen, kick her to the curb. But the thing is, when you're in judgment, whether it's politics or about the food coming out of the kitchen or this guy leaving a mess, what I judged as a mess, you cannot see any other possibility. And that's one of the ways that judgment controls you.
Well, and along the lines of that, one of the ways I like to talk about that is say because we can talk about these different situations, but to me, if you take it outside of anything real, sometimes it can be easier to see it. But say you decide blue is wrong, like blue should just not exist in the world, and anything that's blue is wrong and should be gotten rid of. So yeah, you have to get rid of that painting. I have a little blue in my shirt, so it's got to go. But you said it's arbitrary, right? I mean, is blue good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? It's just blue. But if you've decided that it's wrong and it shouldn't be there, you have to reject everything that has any blue in it.
Yes.
You can't, you can only see the part of the world that isn't blue. So the judgment, it sets up all these filters.
Yes.
Through which of what you can be aware of, what you can't be aware of, what you can have in your life, what you can't have in your life. And is blue wrong, or is it just your point of view?
Right. No, I think that's a really good example, Pam, because people don't get how confining and limiting having judgments is.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you set up filters and you can't see other possibilities. And it's just a point of view. We have something in Access Consciousness called presumptive realities, where you take a point of view and I can't talk, a point of view.
Yes.
Hard.
Slow it down. No.
You take a point of view and you make it an absolute truth.
Yeah.
So I saw that a lot in couples counseling. And I remember one woman was just adamant. My husband needs to get in touch with his feelings. He's not expressing his feelings, and I said, well, after a while discussing various things with this, I said, actually, I think what you want as a partner is a lesbian with a penis. Because in general, most men don't do feelings like that. So that they don't, they just, you're wanting a woman.
Yeah.
Not a man. And it took her a while to really get it, but in the end, she kind of got it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But her presumptive reality was everybody should express their feelings.
That's the right way to be.
That's the right way to be. That's mentally healthy.
Well, and when you start talking about judgments, often it's easy for us to see that negative things that we have, the points of view that are negative as a judgment. But what sticks you even more is where you've decided you have it right. Like
the positive judgment.
The positive judgment. I'm a good, kind person. So then, that's a judgment that, I could show up in ways that are expressing kindness sometimes, but is it, I'm a good person, I'm a not good person. So to me, all of it it's putting boundaries on what you can be aware of, what you can be in the world, how you can be in the world. One of the things you put in Marilyn's the one who comes up with our amazing topic descriptions. I love how you do it. But whether it's you're judging someone else or they're judging you, all of it is boxing you in to only perceiving some things. One way I think of it is say you're driving down the road, your judgments are walls on the sides of the road, and you can't go anywhere else, and you can't see anything else except what you've judged it to be already. And when you start using tools to dismantle those judgments, it's like you have the whole vista available, and you can drive anywhere. You don't even have to have a road to go on. You can go off-roading and check out anything. And so, you know, a lot of times people are so caught up in the I have to be right and don't realize how much it is limiting what's available to you, what you can create, what you can choose, kind of how you show up with your life.
Well, yes. And you brought up two things I'd like to address. One is positive judgments. If you've decided, oh, he or she is perfect for me, well, you can't see the parts that aren't so perfect. If they're gaslighting you, or scamming you, or even if they're just forgetful of your birthday or whatever matters to you, well, it's okay. It's okay because I know they're perfect.
Yeah.
Once again, and that can be dangerous to you. I think a lot of people get caught up with not so great other people because they've judged them in a certain way. Well, he's just seemed so nice.
Well, and if you're sitting there going, I wouldn't do that. I would see them for who they are. You could say, have you ever had a friend who had someone they were into, and you could tell that it was not a great relationship for them, and they couldn't see it, and you can't say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They won't see anything that doesn't match what they've decided this is.
That's the thing. You cannot see or be aware of anything that doesn't match your judgment of whatever, whomever it is.
Yeah.
But the other thing is when you're judged, like suppose you're feeling hot, strutting your stuff, and someone goes, ooh, that's a really ugly blouse. Most people get their feelings hurt, or at least questioned, at least go into doubt.
Yeah.
Or, I can't believe you like that restaurant, or, that's kind of crazy.
You're a terrible parent. I can't believe you're treating your kid that way.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, my gardener's waiting.
You're getting distracted by the gardener.
I got distracted by my gardener. I don't know if he needs something, but we'll only be on another 5 or so minutes, 7 minutes anyway.
One of the tools that Marilyn and I both use all the time is called interesting point of view. And it's the idea that any point of view is just an interesting point of view. It's something you choose to take on. You can change it. So, something like somebody saying, oh, I can't believe you're wearing that dress again. And you start to react. You can say to yourself, interesting point of view. They have that point of view.
Yes.
And say you're going into, oh God, I can't believe I wore the same thing again. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Because when there's judgment there, what we tend to do is either align and agree with it or resist and react to it. So Marilyn, if you're like, Pam, you're such a bad parent. I can't believe you. I have to either go, oh yeah, you're right. I suck. I'm such a bad parent. Or I resist and react. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have any kids yourself. How do you know if I'm a good parent or not? And all
I had an answer once.
All of that is me kind of being in the judgment as well. It's not getting outside of it. Yeah. And when you use a tool like interesting point of view, it's like you can go kind of rise up above whatever's going on and see it for what it is. They have that point of view. I don't have that point of view about me. I don't need to be affected by their judgment if I'm willing to be in that space of interesting point of view.
And you can also then, if you're in interesting point of view, as Pam was talking about, you can ask a question like, I wonder what their agenda is by throwing that judgment at me.
Yeah.
Are they trying to put me down? Are they trying to control me? What's going on with that person?
Yeah.
Are they just kind of nasty and in a bad mood? Sometimes that's true.
Yeah.
But you get to ask questions. If you make their judgment real, you can't ask any questions.
Yeah. Well, and again, coming back to, can you see that either way judgment is controlling you, whether it's positive, negative, directed at you, you're judging someone, all of that is you're at the effect
Right.
of whatever is going on, and something like interesting point of view takes you out of being the effect. So you have choice, and you can see what's actually occurring and where people are functioning from, and choose what's going to work for you in that situation.
Yeah. One exercise that's kind of fun, and they used to do it in debate club, is you argue one point of view, and you can practice this yourself. You can practice in America. Be a Democrat for a while and talk about Trump. Be a Republican for a while and talk about Trump. And you can see that it's all mostly just judgments. Occasionally a fact, but then you judge the fact as meaning something.
Right.
And that's the whole thing, is that we judge what is as meaning something.
Well, and kind of a tool that, Marilyn, I hear you use all the time, and that I find so helpful, is because you could start listing out your judgments about anything. And then, well, if I didn't have this judgment, what would I be aware of?
Yes.
If I wasn't having this judgment, what would I choose? Because you can extricate yourself from the judgment and see the bigger picture and choose different.
Yes, then you have actual choice.
Yes.
Which is what we as the Irreverent Therapists are all about. You should have choice.
We judge.
Oh, that's an awareness, I think.
That is an awareness.
Empowering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, anything else, or should I cue the music?
I think we can cue the music. Go forth and try to be aware of judgments and awareness.
Yes. And be interesting point of view.
And the interesting point of view.
See you next time.